Hi, if you didn't already know, we are crowdfunding Lovecraftesque 2nd edition, the Eldritch horror game where you create the mystery at the table. One of the exciting things about the new edition is that it comes with a solo play mode, which I am going to be playing through over the next few videos. So this will be the start of a series in which I'm going to play the game solo for your enjoyment. So for solo play, the game is set up more or less the same as for multiplayer. We have a deck of location cards and a deck of character cards. I've already shuffled these, and I'm going to draw 3 of each. So I need to decide from these what would be a good setting for my story, and I'm looking at the urban place, intellectual place, and holy place, and that's making me think of a city. And I'm thinking about different places that I could set this, and the place that leaps to mind is Sheffield. It's a nearby city to me. It's an industrial city, and I know it quite well, so it feels like a good fit. I'm thinking that I might set it further back in history, though, like maybe not modern day. So I've done a bit of research, and it looks like there's kind of 2 obvious settings for Sheffield's industrial era. I don't know if it's 2 really, but the start feels like it's kind of 1850s time. There was a lot of industrialization going on right the way through to kind of the 1920s. Looks to me like it's kind of the peak of industrial activity in Sheffield. Who knows? That could be completely wrong. Well, that's what I'm going with. I also noticed, I got quite excited about this, there seems to be gangs in Sheffield around about this time. So in the 1850s, or thereabouts, there are 2 gangs called the Red Silks and the White Silks. I haven't read anything about them, but they just sound, that's really evocative to me, Red Silks and White Silks. I think I'm going to kind of be a bit anachronistic and kind of ignore the exact flow of time and just kind of pick and choose from that broad period. And if it turns out that that's completely different to what happened, well, strangely enough, it's a story I'm making up. So I'm going to take the Red Silks because I particularly like the name of that gang. And what I'm thinking is that the main character that I'm going to be playing will be an undercover journalist in that gang. Because I'd like it to be, the rules of Lovecraftesque say you should pick somebody who is like an outsider or low status or a newcomer. It gives them a way to explore the mystery from the outside rather than being someone who you're kind of asking, well, why didn't they already know about this? So I've gone for Joseph Blomfield. He's going to be my main character. He is... he's undercover in the Red Silks gang, trying to get to the bottom of what the Red Silks are all about and do an expose on that. And I think that this is quite a naive character. That's kind of the personality trait I'm going for. He's a kind of young, naive, idealistic person. He believes in the power of the press. He maybe even believes that on some level the working people are inherently good in some way, and that any crime that takes place is probably a result of the circumstances they find themselves in. And that kind of feeds into his source of strength, which I think is a kind of an idealistic belief in doing the right thing. I think that's what will keep him going in difficult times, is to think of his ideals. Okay, so having decided on my setting, I need to create the individual locations and characters. I'm allowed to discard 1 each of these if I want to, if I don't like what I've got. Otherwise, I'm going to use the 3 that I've got here. So I think I'm going to start with this urban place. I am thinking that the urban place will be a hangout for my gang, the Red Silks. And so specifically, I'm imagining, according to my research, there's an area at the top of the one of the hills in Sheffield, was called the Sky Ring at the time, and that's where all of the villains hung out at that time. So I am thinking a pub. I'm going to call it something simple. I think I'll call it the Black Horse, and that's going to be like a gambling den. It's where the Red Silks operate out of. Holy place. I thought it would be nice to make it a church. The cathedral wasn't a cathedral back then. So I had a little look on Google Maps, and I found a church that was founded around about the right time, which is St. Aidan's. And yeah, so I'm thinking this is a brand new church. According to my research, it would have been a wooden mission church. And I'm imagining that it tends to the local workers in this part of the city, and probably the criminal underclass are part of its flock as well. I didn't like Intellectual Place in the end. I think it really, really suits Sheffield, but somehow it just doesn't fit with the story I'm trying to tell. So I'm going to discard Intellectual Place and draw a replacement, which is Ancient Place. Interesting. That's not quite as good a fit with my setting in some ways, but I think I will just make that the slums themselves. I think, according to my research, there are Sheffield was really a dire place to live at this time in history. A lot of the housing was in a real state, and it was smog choked. It was a horrible place to be. So I'm thinking Ancient Place. I'm thinking the workers' slums, which will be these kind of crumbling, ramshackle buildings crammed onto the hill, and I think probably a lot of the Red Silks will come from that part of the city. As for the characters, I feel like this is a bit easier. I'm wanting to make this story quite focused on the Red Silks, so I think a Teller of Tales I'm going to make that a member of the Red Silks who's like a veteran of the gang. He's got lots of tales to tell, and if you sit him down and pay for a pint, he'll tell you all about those. And I'm going to call him Wiggy. Wiggy is going to be his name, which is going to be short for his surname Wigglesworth. He's going to be Daniel Wigglesworth, but everybody calls him Wiggy. Then I've got the helpful person, which feels like a good fit for the vicar or rector or whatever it would be at St. Aidan's Church. So I think I'll have them be this helpful person who works at the church. I'm going to call him Joseph Pike. And then finally, the powerful person, I think, should be an industrialist who wants to buy up the slums. Like this is going to be somebody who wants to build lots and lots of industrial infrastructure. They're responsible for a lot of the jobs in the city, but they're also responsible for the dire state that the city is in. I'm going to make that Ethel Steeple. I think probably at this time in history it would be unusual for a woman to own lots of stuff. So I'm thinking maybe her father is the real owner, but he's sick and infirm, and so she is going to be running his business empire, and maybe has done for quite a long time. So she's not so much the power behind the throne as she is kind of sitting on the throne in his stead, and she wants to build a new factory in the area of the Sky Ring amongst these slums, maybe destroying people's homes to do it. Lovecraftesque is, as I'm recording this, is on BackerKit crowdfunding. We are raising money for a new edition of the game with all these lovely cards that you've seen, and it's going to be a box set. It will include this solo play mode that I'm playing at the moment. So if you are watching this on the 9th of November 2023 or earlier, I urge you to head on over to BackerKit and pledge to the game and help make it the best it can be. Thank you.